Hi guys, welcome back to the FPL Duo. We hope everyone's having a good time. And yeah, we thought we'd go live as always. After the games, we do the knee-jerk live reaction stream. We're going to react to game week 19. It has just finished. Man City have beaten Chelsea 1-0 in a tightly fought game. We're going to talk about game week 19 and also discuss game week 20. How you doing, Jordan? Is all well?
Yeah, it's been pretty extensive game week. I mean, it's still continuing because Chelsea and Fulham have to play, but it has been an exciting, interesting, and unexpected one.
Yeah, we'll get into double game weeks because obviously, as you know, I do have a couple of players, and yes, game week hasn't been great for me. But let's get into it anyway. I'm going to bring up my team, and we'll talk through it. We'll talk through it all. If you are just joining in, guys, please don't forget to drop a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're close to 700 subscribers, so please get us there if you can. Okay, so let's talk about game week 19, and it is a double game week 19, but what a shocking game week for me. I will go into why that's been. It could have been so different, but it wasn't to be. So let's start with the goalkeeper, Danny Ward. Forgot who Leicester played now, but essentially he conceded. Wasn't expecting a. Sorry, it was against Fulham, wasn't it? So Mitrovic did score against Ward, which I was happy about anyway. So yeah, blank for Ward. Moving on to back line. So as you can see, I do have Ben White in my team, which I was happy about. I went with Newcastle and Arsenal. You know, I got Trippier and Ben White. Of course, they played against each other. I didn't expect a 0-0 in that game, so it was a very surprising. I know a lot of people benched Ben White. I've seen some people even bench Kieran Trippier, and Kieran Trippier just goes to show that he's unbenchable. I think no matter what the fixture, you just got to play him. And Ben White, yeah, it was nice to see him pick up the clean sheet as well. So yeah, 7 points for Ben White. I think he picked up the bonus point as well, 1 point. And then Kieran Trippier, 8-pointer. He does it again, 2 bonus points. I think next season his price is going to be very high. You know, maybe 7.5 million next season. Trippier, we'll see. He's having a brilliant season so far, and yeah, 8 points again. Moving on to Cancelo, who I think has annoyed a lot of owners. I can see in the chat. Yeah, we're going to discuss Cancelo in deeper, in the deeper topic, but I think Cancelo is a weird one because I kept him in my team. He gets the 1-pointer. He plays. He does start finally after being benched in the previous 2. He doesn't have a great game, and he's substituted off after half-time. Annoyingly, I was going to sub out Cancelo, actually. I had 2 options in mind. One of the plans was Cancelo out to Cucurella or Luke Shaw. Now, I do regret not going with Luke Shaw, of course, now after seeing the, I think, 14-pointer or the 15-pointer that he got. 15-pointer. So that obviously went badly wrong. I was considering him. But yeah, Cancelo, I kept the faith, and he has a double coming up potentially. So yeah, that was annoying, to be fair. And Cancelo looks like one that I've kind of lost patience with, so he could be coming out my team. Moving into the midfield 5, where it doesn't get any better. So let's talk about Mason Mount. So as you guys know, Mason Mount had a double game week, and yeah, he was meant to play City today. And then Fulham, he plays, obviously, end of this game week next week. So, yeah, we heard rumors around about 2 hours before kickoff that Mason Mount is going to be, he's not in the squad. Now, when that news released, I was thinking, okay, has he been dropped to the bench? Which I thought is unlikely because usually Potter plays him every game. But when the team lineup came out, we saw that Mount wasn't even on the bench. And then news came out by David Ornstein of The Athletic saying Mount picked up an injury. And yeah, what can I say? It's one of those very unfortunate for me, for all Mount owners, that he was injured. So he would have played today. So obviously, I didn't expect him, or the way the game went, they could have done with him maybe. But, you know, even his 2 points would have helped me from getting a getting a red arrow. But yeah, the Mason Mount stuff was annoying. I think that's just unlucky on our part. We expected him to start, and I'm just hoping now he starts against Fulham and can get me even 2 points for playing, because otherwise I've got nothing on the bench. So yeah, I need Mount to start against Fulham, and yeah, tonight's game, it was just unfortunate that he couldn't, he was injured. Moving on to Mo Salah, Liverpool did end up losing 3-1 to Brentford, which was another, I don't know if it was a surprise actually, because I think a lot of people saw this one coming for Liverpool potentially losing to Brentford. Salah wasn't involved really. I don't think he had many chances to score. Liverpool looked poor. We're going to come on to Liverpool and discuss them moving forward as well, because obviously I own Salah. A lot of people have Nunez. So we're going to discuss Liverpool in depth and talk about whether we need to keep Liverpool assets or do we have to get rid of them. So yeah, I think Salah's one that's potentially on the chopping block. I think I'm going to get rid. 2 points. Again, Liverpool just don't look good, and losing patience with their assets now. I think they don't look great going forward as such, or defensively, I should say. They look even worse. So let me know what you guys are doing with Liverpool assets. For those that own Salah and Nunez in the comments, drop them in. Are you keeping them or are you getting rid of them? Let us know. Let's move on to the double Arsenal attack. I did go Saka Martinelli. Now, this was always a risk going with both of them because Newcastle are playing very well, and the chances of both of them scoring again is not high. I thought maybe one of them could get a goal. It wasn't to be. Arsenal played quite well, potentially could have had a penalty in that game, but overall I thought the draw was a deserved result. But yeah, blanks for both of them. Obviously they get the 1 point for the clean sheet. Moving on to Rashford, who keeps up his goal scoring form. Manchester United did win 3-0 against Bournemouth. Rashford obviously gets the goal and the clean sheet point as well. So 8-pointer from Rashford, which is very happy to see. His ownership is quite high now. So obviously Rashford scoring doesn't make as much difference now to your ranks. I think he's selected by about 37% of managers. But all in all, yeah, happy that he's actually scored, because I believe, obviously, apart from Mitrovic, he's the only other person in my team that actually scored a goal. Let's move on up front. Now, this is the make or break for the game week for me. And I'm going to speak about Mitrovic first, I think. So let's go on to Mitrovic. Now, everyone knows in the last deadline stream, I bought in Mitrovic. I made my decision to take out Martial, who did blank, so that did pay off. Martial didn't get, only got the 2 points, I believe. Mitrovic did score, but the annoying thing is Mitrovic got a yellow card, and we always knew this, guys. So Mitrovic owners, we knew the risk. Mitrovic is on 4 yellow cards. If he got booked again, he would be missing the second game. But as it goes to show, the game starts off, I think within the first 20 minutes, Mitrovic scores, and I think a lot of people were, if you captained Mitrovic, you're very happy. If you didn't captain Mitrovic, I think you were sweating a bit because it looked like Mitrovic could go on and maybe get another one. I think Leicester were pretty poor in that first half. But everything was going smoothly, I'd say, until about the 80th minute. And my game week completely changed, because what happened was, so Mitrovic was actually on 16 points. He scored a goal, and he had the 3 bonus points. So he was on 8 points. Double that, 16 points. So if Mitrovic got me 16 points and another game to play, we're looking at potentially a 20-pointer from him, at worst case scenario. But that yellow card was, it was literally, I don't want to exaggerate it, that yellow card changed my whole game week, because he went from Mitrovic getting potentially 16 points and another game to 5 points and no second game. So I can't, it's a big swing. Mitrovic getting a yellow card has made me get a small red arrow. Otherwise, if Mitrovic had that second game, obviously we know Haaland blanked today. It could have been a very nice, healthy green arrow. So it wasn't to be. Mitrovic gets that yellow card, and for those that watched the game, it wasn't a yellow card in my opinion. It was a bit very, I don't know. It was very harsh, I think, it was a foul, but I don't think it was yellow. And then finally, Haaland, who did play as well today against Chelsea. Haaland was quite quiet, especially in that first half. He didn't get many touches of the ball, but he did have a nice chance. He was through. I think someone put him through, and he had on a left foot, but it's just wide. And other than that, I think Haaland struggled maybe a bit to get into the game. Man City had a good spell in that second half, I'd say, for around 20 minutes when they really pressured Chelsea. But yeah, Haaland does blank with a 2-pointer. So Mitrovic did outscore him, but annoyingly, it wasn't enough because we were relying on that second game. And yeah, that's my team, guys. On the bench, I've got pretty much nothing. Everson, Patterson, who is now Lampard, I said he's out for 6 weeks, so he needs to be maybe transferred out. We'll see. Greenwood got me 1 point, and then Reece James, obviously we know he's injured. I've just left him in my team for now. So I'm currently on 46 points. I still have Mason Mount to play against Fulham, but at this moment in time, I don't even know if he's going to play because he is injured, and even though it's not a serious injury, it was said that it's a minor injury. I am still worried that he might miss out that game. So if he gets me 0 points, I'll have Patterson coming on for 0 points regardless because he's first bench, and Patterson did actually play in that loss for Everton. So very annoying. 46 points. Small, I think it's a small red arrow of about 10, 11%. My rank is currently sitting at 1,300,000. And yeah, hopefully Mount can play against Fulham because if he does something in that game, it could swing to a small green. But all in all, not a great game week for me. We are going to obviously speak about game week 20 as well, how I'm going to turn this around because I do have 2 free transfers as well. And I think I need it because I want to change a few things in my team, mainly Salah, Cancelo. We're going to discuss it all shortly. But before we do that all, let's bring up your team, Jordan. Obviously, you had a bit more fortune than me this game week. You're going to take us through your game week 19, how it went for you. Are you happy with it? And just talk us through your team. Oh,
sorry.
Before we start, there is 30 of you guys in here watching. If you can, please, guys, drop a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. It would be very appreciated. So yeah, guys, drop a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. Sorry about that, Jordan. I'll let you go.
That's all right. It was a bit of a roller coaster game week 19, as fantasy has become like a roller coaster since Boxing Day. But let's start off with the goalkeeper. So Ederson played a few moments ago against Chelsea. Man City did hang on and keep the clean sheet, and Ederson was rewarded with the clean sheet and the bonus 2 on top of that. So he got a nice 8-pointer from that. It did come close. Chelsea did hit the post in that game, and it was pretty good for Ederson, keeping them at bay, getting those saves in. Very nice. And yeah, I have kept faith in the goalkeeper for Man City, as I think he's the only nailed asset, I think, at the moment to go for. Moving on to the defence, obviously Trippier does it again with another return. Not a double haul, but near enough close, as an 8-pointer from him. Was 0-0 against Arsenal in that Newcastle game. Quite a stalemate kind of one. Neither opposition really got any opportunities, much apart from Arsenal. But Nick Pope did save a nice goal from Arsenal attack. But yeah, 8-pointer from Trippier. Nice for another return. Doesn't do much for our ranks, as we all pretty much have Trippier in our teams. Moving on to Cancelo, it's probably the biggest talking point of this game week. I think Pep has lost. I don't know what he's lost with Cancelo, but he's lost something with him to not keep him on for 90 minutes. Taking him off after pretty much half time, which only leaves him with 1 point for playing 45 minutes of the match time. So yeah, 1 pointer from Cancelo. Nothing much else to say about that. Could have got the clean sheet if Pep decided to play him for the 60 minutes. Moving on to the biggest point return in my team, Luke Shaw. He has done wonders for my team in the past 3 game weeks. For Man United, they have been absolutely on fire with their clean sheets. 3 out of 3 for Shaw. And to top it off, he scores and gets the clean sheet and the bonus 3 on top of that, which rewards him with a double haul of 15 points. So it was a pretty nice return from Luke Shaw. Nice to see him scoring again as well, and he's enjoying himself in that position. And yeah, quite happy with that return. Moving on to the midfield, it's a little bit more quieter. We've got Martinelli, who did blank against Newcastle. It was expected. I didn't think much was going to come out of that game. There's a lot to play for from both sides, and a lot of the players didn't want to take too many risks in that game, just so they didn't concede. It's pretty much the same with Almiron as well. Another blank from him. He did get a yellow card, so he only got 2 points instead of the 3 if he didn't get rewarded the yellow card. So yeah, he was pretty quiet as well in that game. Not much going on for either of those players. It was quite as I said, a stalemate match, which both oppositions didn't really want to lose. Moving on to the double Man United in the midfield. So we've got Bruno Fernandes, who got a nice assist in that game against Nottingham Forest.
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, at home. He got a nice assist against Bournemouth at home and got the clean sheet with that. With Wolves in with 6 points. And he did assist from Rashford's goal late in that game. So Rashford was awarded with the 8 points and got a bonus, I think, as well. So it was a nice return from the triple Man United again, back to back. So yeah, that's where really the points came from in my team. I'm quite glad I stuck to my guns and brought Man United assets in because they have done many wonders for me. Moving on to the front three, there isn't much to talk about as there's no one that's really scored return. But Nketiah did blank. He got 1 point. I think also a yellow card in that game. That's the only thing he really got. Haaland, another blank for him. Do we ask the question, do we take Haaland out? No, I'm just joking. We don't take Haaland out because he's just blanked. Of course, we keep him in because he does have a double coming up. I don't think it's not really a shock that he's blank. I mean, it's only a matter of time before he doesn't score. And this is the case. Chelsea game was the one where he did blanking. So he only got the 2 points, but he gets the 4 because I did captain him this week. But yeah, we'll move on to Darwin, who I imagine has put a lot of people's blood pressure up really high, especially after that game. With the chances he had, could have possibly scored 2 goals in that game, especially that first one where he took it around the goalkeeper and just had to finish it, but the defender actually blocked the shot and stopped it.
I think that was good defending, to be fair.
Yeah, I'll say I wouldn't criticize Darwin for that because the defender did really well running back to the goal line to clear it off the line. So I'm not going to put Darwin down that much. He did play well. He just didn't finish his chances again. But yeah, he got 1 point. He got a yellow card in that game for probably for verbal abuse at the referee, as it looked like. But yeah, 1 point from Darwin again. Hopefully, if you still have faith, you can do well next week.
We'll discuss Darwin. Obviously, there's a few comments as well coming through about Darwin and what to do with him. We're going to come on to all that, guys. We're going to discuss that in a sec. If you are just joining in, obviously, please drop a like on the stream if you can as well.
And yeah, that's pretty much my starting 11, how it went. I'll just briefly go through my team bench. I've got a lot of points on there. Danny Ward, obviously, got 2 for blanking in that game. Rodrigo, he got 6 points. He did score in that Leeds game. It was pretty poor, but he still managed to score, Rodrigo. I'm not too gutted about that because I was going to play Martinelli, Almiron, and obviously the Man United assets over them players and obviously the forward line as well. I got Dunk, who got 2-pointer for that Brighton Everton game. Ben White, unfortunately, did get 7 points, but I did put him on the bench. So I was kind of annoyed at that. I could have played Cancelo on the bench instead of Ben White, but I didn't think Arsenal would actually keep a clean sheet in that game. But it doesn't matter because I did get a green arrow somehow this game week. 498, so I'm in the top 500k. I've broken through to that milestone. And I got a total of 57 points this game week. And my total is now 1,097 points in total. So yeah, it has been a pretty good game with a small green arrow. I think I was on 546k. So it is a little green arrow. I think it's thanks to Edison because I was currently on a red before Edison got that clean sheet. But yeah, that's just a summary of how my Game Week 19 team has gone.
Okay, that's your Game Week 19 team out the way. I am going to read out some comments now from the viewers. And yeah, as always, if you are just joining in the stream, guys, don't forget to drop a like and also subscribe to the channel. We've got El Padrino, who says, big up, fellas. Shout out to him. Hope you're well, mate. We've got Elliot in the chat. Hey, guys.
Elliot.
We've got Manish, got 73 points. Cancelo again. 73 points is pretty good for this week, I think. Manish also says time to sell Cancelo. Okay, let's discuss Cancelo.
Yeah.
Elliot says the same. Cancelo out. What do you think? Is it time to get rid of Cancelo, who's been benched twice prior to today? He starts today, but then Pep takes him off after 45 minutes, at half time. And it looks like he prefers Rico Lewis, the youngster. He prefers Akanji as well. So what's your thoughts on Cancelo? Will you be taking him out? Have you lost faith in him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've contemplated taking him out before. I even benched him possibly before, but still played him just in the maybe the chance he did play, but didn't. I think Pep has lost faith in Cancelo as a starter and a finisher in terms of minutes. I think he has kind of really lost that to Rico Lewis. And yeah, I think it is time to take Cancelo out. I mean, he's the only premium we probably have left in our teams. And as premiums have gone this season, they haven't done well at all. And I think Cancelo is the last one left, which he hasn't done well either because of Pep. He's just not playing him. He's not even playing him for 90 minutes anymore. He played for that 46 minutes and that was it. He was taken off. So he's not getting us any points. So he has a lot of money invested in him as well. So he is keeping a lot of budget where we could use it elsewhere. So yeah, I think it is the right time to sell him, even though he has a double game week, which he probably won't play the 90 minutes in both of them, possibly. And maybe not a clean sheet either in neither of them. So yeah, I think it is time to take him out and use the money elsewhere where it's going to be more useful.
Yeah, looking at his double game week, so his double game week is confirmed, right? Man City definitely have a double game week. I know Spurs, we have to wait and see on Spurs. But Man City play Man United at Old Trafford for the first one. And then the second game is against Spurs at home. So that is two trickier fixtures. I know Man United have looked a bit better, but Man United haven't played, I don't know, maybe opposition as tough as City in their 3 wins so far since the restart. Spurs, after their big win yesterday, might be a tougher little opponent against Man City this time around. We know Man City have struggled against Spurs in recent years. A bit of a bogey team Spurs have been for Man City. So it's going to be interesting to see how Pep lines up. But I'm with you on this one that I think Cancelo now, I think it's going to be very hard for people to keep the faith with him. And I can see him getting a lot of transfers out for game week, even though there's a double, purely because A, is he going to start? B, even if he does start, he'll probably be subbed off. And C, can you even see Man City keeping clean sheets against United and Spurs, which you probably can in one of those games. They definitely have the potential to do it. Why not? But he's a rotation risk and he's a minutes risk when he does play, Cancelo. So, and at that price, you know, if you've not got any other defenders if you've not got a Trippier, a Luke Shaw, a Ben White who's quite cheap, Gabriel at Arsenal, I'd be tempted to move him out. We are going to talk about options as well. Who can you remove him to? Who would you be going to really? Because if we're being honest, there's not many good choices, especially in that premium mark with Liverpool's defense being pretty terrible as well.
There is one particular player that I've thought about bringing in for definite for him, and that is Castagna, because Leicester do have Nottingham Forest in the game week 20. So it is a nice fixture for Leicester, even though they haven't been that great. But Nottingham Forest, on the other hand, haven't been the greatest this season so far. So the likelihood of Leicester keeping a clean sheet in that game I would say, is probably high, because I don't really see Nottingham Forest scoring against Leicester, even though they haven't been that great. But I feel like for a defender pick to take out Cancelo to save money, I think Castagna is definitely an option to go for. And Leicester do have good fixtures after Nottingham Forest in game week 22.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at Leicester's fixtures. So Leicester have Nottingham Forest in game week 20. Then they've got Brighton. Then they've got Villa. Then they've got Spurs. Not the worst. But yeah, we're gonna talk about replacements in more depth, obviously, during the transfer tips video midweek. But yeah, I think Cancelo is one that I'd be tempted to get rid of, If Pep would have just benched him, I would have got Ben White off the bench, but he starts, then he takes off at half time. Yep, I
Yeah,
must be annoying.
a lot of people in that situation, I think, because a lot of people bench Ben White and had him on the first bench and hoped Cancelo didn't play.
Yep, animations also says time to sell Cancelo, Nunez, and Mount, and bring in Mitro or Martial, De Bruyne, and any defender. We're going to talk about Nunez as well, actually, and Mount um, in a sec. Um, Keeping Salah, says Elliot. I'm thinking Salah to KDB, says Jeremy. But once I get KDB, Pep will bench him. Yep, that's how FPL works. Manish might triple captain Haaland v Bournemouth or Nottingham. Yeah, I think you could go Haaland triple captain. I think it's going to be quite popular. I think most of us will use our triple captain chip on Haaland sometime, whether that's in game week 20 or later down the season when he's got some more double game weeks as well. Good evening to you, Kimchi.
Good evening.
Um, got another comment here. I'll see if I missed any comments out. Saludinho. I've got 2 free transfers. Can you give some tips? I want to sell Darwin and Cancelo, but I want to bring in Rodrigo for Almiron. Thoughts? What's your thoughts on this, Jordan?
Well, I am a Rodrigo owner, and I do plan to play him in game week 20 because he does have Aston Villa as a fixture. So with the absence of Bamford, I still think Rodrigo's a good pick to go for, as he is differential. No one's really looked at him, and I feel like he's going to do well in his upcoming fixtures because these do have a few nice green ones coming up. So for Almiron, though, I probably want to do it for another player because I think with Almiron, I would want to keep him in my team still because he's a danger to rank, especially if he gets a return because of how high his ownership is. So if it's possible, could you do it to another player that has possibly lower ownership in your team? That may not affect your rank as much because without Almiron in your team, I think it is a risk.
Yeah, I mean, what are Newcastle's fixtures coming up? I'll just take a look because I don't own Almiron still, but Newcastle have some nice fixtures coming up. So they got Fulham next, then they've got Palace, then they got West Ham, and then Bournemouth. So a couple of greens for Newcastle where you may want to own Almiron, Trippier, etc. But yeah, Newcastle look pretty good for the next 4 fixtures, I'd say at least. So
Yeah,
keeping Almiron, I think, could be a good pick, especially at his price tag.
yeah. I see why you want to bring Rodrigo though, because I would bring it in if I didn't have him already in my team because I am going to play him in game week 20. Selling Darwin is probably a big talking point because a lot of people are frustrated with
Let's
him.
discuss. I think Darwin is the one. You're a Darwin owner. What's your plans with Darwin for game week 20 and beyond?
I'll probably keep him in my team, as mad as that sounds. He's still getting the chances, and that's what matters the most. Even though he's not scoring them yet, well, sooner or later, as we keep saying, Darwin is going to score, get a nice return, and it's only a matter of time. So I just think there's faith in holding him more there, even though a lot of forwards are getting more points, especially in game week 20, like Harry Kane did.
Yeah.
Darwin still has nice fixtures for Liverpool and looks like the only really asset I see for Liverpool scoring in their games because there ain't many really options for Liverpool at the moment in terms of their form.
I'm gonna bring up Liverpool's fixtures. Let me know what you think because I'm not. I mean, obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan myself, but I'm not keen on holding any Liverpool assets. Maybe that's a big risk because they obviously people like Darwin and Salah, they'll always be owned by a lot of FPL managers, and just the way Liverpool are playing right now, it doesn't give me any confidence that they're going to score that many goals. Um, yeah, I don't know. Did you watch the Brentford game?
I
What
did.
your thoughts on that was? It was
No, I
bad.
mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, for Liverpool, but at the same time, they do have problems in their team, like numerous problems. Like Van Dijk, for example, is the newest one because he was taken off because of injury.
Yep.
So it does leave another red flag for Liverpool in their defence. So there is a lot of problems for Liverpool at the moment, and I do feel for them because Man United were in a similar circumstance to this. So I'm not going to really criticise Liverpool and their performance in that Brentford game because they were under a lot of pressure. And I think with Elliot as well, he's getting a lot of flack from Liverpool
Yeah,
as a youngster. And I feel like that's really wrong for a youngster like that to
yeah,
get like thrown abuse at him just because of
yeah.
the situation Liverpool are in. It's just a lot to take on for a 18-year-old, I think he is.
Yeah, I think Liverpool have to put their blame on themselves in that situation. Obviously, we know Liverpool needed to sign a midfielder, but it hasn't happened for whatever reason, and they are playing the likes of Elliot and relying on essentially kids to run the midfield. But if we're looking at Liverpool's next 4 or 5 fixtures, Brighton at away next, I think that's a tough game. The way Brighton play, you know, De Zerbi's looking like he's playing attacking football again. They've got Caicedo in there. McAllister's back. I think that's a tough game for Liverpool, and I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton could at least get a draw minimum in that game. I don't know what your thoughts are. Then they've got Chelsea, and we saw Chelsea today against Man City. For large parts of that game, they did keep it quite tight, and Man City needed a bit of magic. Grealish, obviously, putting that ball in for Mahrez to score. So I don't think that game's. I would say that game's a red for Liverpool potentially. After that, they've got Wolves and Everton. I think those 2 games are a bit easier, but for the next 2 games, I'm not so sure about Liverpool even getting a win in those 2 personally. But I mean, you've got the faith still to hold Darwin Nunez, and then after that, I mean, Liverpool's fixtures don't look too bad. Brighton, Chelsea, Wolves, Everton, Newcastle, Palace, Man United. How many wins do you see here, though? How many clean sheets? I know with Darwin, the clean sheets obviously doesn't matter. Maybe there's people want to bring Trent in. Good. This is a good comment actually from Ilias. He says Gakpo. Yeah, Gakpo actually. We're forgetting him. He is probably going to start now in game week 20 for Brighton. He will make his debut, I believe, against Wolves in that FA Cup game coming up in the weekend. So Gakpo is an exciting addition to potentially rejuvenate that Liverpool front line. My worry is though, I don't know if people agree with me, but I watch a lot of Liverpool, and I don't think Gakpo solves their issues. In my opinion, I think they need a midfielder. As good as Gakpo is, I think he's a good signing for Liverpool, and he will probably get some goals and help Nunez take the burden off Nunez and Salah. I think Liverpool in that middle of the park, they look too easy to get through. I think they're too easy to play through and bully really, and all you need to do is one ball through that middle of the center of the park, and you open up Liverpool. So yeah, I'm not so sure if that Gakpo signing will improve Liverpool, especially in that midfield where they need reinforcement. So I personally think I don't think you'd be mad to go without Salah or Nunez. I think it could be perfectly viable to have no Liverpool players in your team. I know it's a risk, but it could work. As you've seen with Jordan, obviously you've gone without Salah. It's gone pretty fine for you. If you went without Nunez and maybe had a Mitrovic or a Martial, it could have also been okay. So yeah, I mean, Liverpool is a weird one. Because I think obviously I've pretty much backed Liverpool a lot this season, especially at the start when I had Trent in my team. But I don't know. We'll have to see. So I think you could get rid, guys. Jordan, I mean, obviously you've given your opinions. You're going to hold Darwin for now. How many game weeks would you hold him for if you compare him to, let's say, other strikers like a Mitrovic, who I'll bring his fixtures up as well?
It all depends on, I think, the next 2. I think for Darwin, to see what he can do, because they are tough ones that Liverpool do have. But I think with Gakpo, maybe that improves the form in terms of goals for Liverpool. I mean, maybe not wins, but potentially more goals coming from them. And if that is to be, then they're most likely going to come from Darwin, because as we've seen in the past matches, the chances that Darwin gets, he could have easily scored probably 20 plus points if he managed to get all his chances in the goal. So we could be talking another scenario here if Darwin did finish his chances in matches.
And also looking at Mitrovic's fixtures, they're not easy either. He's got Chelsea, Newcastle, Tottenham, and then Chelsea again. So these are some tough games for Fulham and for Mitrovic. So we'll have to see. Even though Mitrovic has done it against a better opposition, on paper though they are quite tough. But looking at the strikers, if you want to sell Nunez, who would you go to at this moment in time? Really,
I'll probably say Harry Kane, just because how consistent Harry Kane's been this season. I think he's really underlooked in terms of how many blanks he's actually got.
I mean, Harry Kane has done pretty well so far. He started off the season pretty good. one goal against Chelsea, a goal against Wolves. He scored 2 against Nottingham Forest. Then from game week 6 to game week 9, sorry, from game week 6 to game week 11, he scored every week. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row where he scored. He blanked against Man United. He scored against Newcastle, scored against Liverpool, scored against Leeds, scored against Brentford, and then he got another 2 against Palace. I think we are we underlooking Kane, Jordan? Because if I just showed you his goals return, he scored in every game pretty much, bar game week 1, game week 5, game week 12, game week 14, and game week 18. So those are the only game weeks where he hasn't scored. Every other game week he scored, and maybe it's because of Haaland. We're looking at Harry Kane and thinking, obviously Harry Kane's been a bit of a forgotten man because how good Haaland is doing. But in a normal season with no Haaland, Harry Kane would be seen to be having a great season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's not far from Haaland in terms of total points. I think Haaland's on 142 and Kane's on 127. So he's only a few points behind Haaland. So I mean, really, we should all have Kane in our team.
Would you be surprised if I told you that Haaland has 6 more Premier League goals than Harry Kane? Only 6 more now. I mean, it was a lot bigger the gap, but it's 21 goals for Haaland and 15 now for Harry Kane, which Harry Kane is quietly getting in the returns. Maybe we are underlooking Harry Kane, and is he a better option now than Salah? I think he probably is, even KDB.
Absolutely. At the moment, currently, if he can stay consistent, especially with the hard fixtures Kane has, he has Arsenal and then Man City, obviously in the double, if that is to happen, then Fulham, but then he's got Man City at home in the game with 22. So there are challenging fixtures for Harry Kane, but he can also score in them too.
Yeah, got a comment here from Chief. Chief says, like the stream, 20 likes so far. Come on, guys, there's about 50 of you in here. If you haven't liked the video, please do drop a like. It helps us out massively and it helps the channel grow. So if you can drop a like, always appreciated. And if you haven't, please get us to 700 subscribers. I believe we're only a couple away from 700. So love for that, guys, if you can. But yeah, let's carry on the subject of Harry Kane, because I've actually probably maybe underlooked, if I'd admit, maybe underlooked Harry Kane. I've gone with Salah. And I think, Harry Kane, he's doing very well so far. 15 goals. And I know Spurs aren't having a great season. But that's not what we really care about. We just care about who gets the goals. And when Spurs score a goal, most of the time it is Harry Kane, because the rest of the team aren't as good. And they are, Kane is a massive part of their goals. Son hasn't been that great. So there's more of a burden on Kane to get the goals. And I think we should be looking at Kane potentially maybe moving the money out. For those that have Salah, Bruno, potentially a KDB, he could be the way to go and maybe go big up front. Maybe we could get in the scenario where we have Kane, Darwin, and Haaland, and then have cheap midfielders, because there's a lot of midfielders like Almiron, Rashford, Odegaard, where we can just pack the midfield. So that's maybe a potential strategy going forward. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments. Have we been underlooking Kane in this channel?
Yeah, I definitely believe it. His ownership is only 28.9, and for a player that scored a total of 127, probably the second most highest in the Premier League in total points, that's very low ownership compared to Haaland, who's over 80%.
I'm going to compare him to Salah's 28.9% of managers own Harry Kane. Compared that to Salah, 34%. So there's a lot more, a couple more owners that own Salah more than Harry Kane, which I'm not surprised by, because I did think Liverpool have the better fixtures. I think a lot of people expected Liverpool to turn it around as well, and it hasn't happened. Liverpool are still above Spurs. No, they're not anymore, actually. But yeah, maybe we are. The faith in Salah, do we hold? Because I own Salah myself. I'm actually tempted to get rid of him for a KDB. I think I want to bring KDB if that double is confirmed. Sorry, but if Tottenham's double is confirmed, then I could actually do what I've bring Harry Kane in, because Harry Kane could be a decent differential, as Krogsberg says. I think he means Kane could be a good differential. I agree. Who's the best double game week captain, Kane or Haaland? I will still say Haaland Haaland in a double game week, in normal single game weeks we go Haaland. So in a double, it's very hard to back against Haaland for me in a double game week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still too much of a risk. I mean, I'm probably going to captain Haaland until the end of the season, unless he gets injured or doesn't start, because the risks outweigh the rewards. I think, even if you do go for Kane, which did pay off obviously this game week because Haaland did blank, and then Kane did get 2 goals, but it is very risky to do that.
We had a few comments regards to KDB as well. Worth switching Salah to KDB this week? I think so. Yes. We're going to come on to your thoughts in a sec, Jordan, but I'm just going to give my take on it. So if we look at Salah, he's got Brighton next away as well. And as I mentioned, Brighton, I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if Brighton beat Liverpool or get a draw against Liverpool in game week 20. I definitely can see Liverpool losing or drawing that game. And if we look at KDB, I'll bring up Man City's fixtures. Man United and Tottenham, okay, that isn't the easiest of fixtures, but we have seen KDB do it against these teams. Whatever team Man City play, KDB can definitely get an assist or score a goal against those two teams. And the fact that it's a double game week for me, even if it is 2 tough games, I am swayed by the double because all KDB needs is 1 return in one of those games. And then, as I mentioned with Mitrovic earlier, if KDB goes and gets a goal in that Man United game and he gets a couple of bonus points, you're looking at him potentially having 15, 16 points and another game to play. So there is that reward there for a double, but it's whether you like his fixtures afterwards as well, and whether you think Man City will keep it up in the sense that also with rotation, do you expect KDB to be benched? I don't think. Man City are in a position where they're chasing now. So Man City aren't in a luxury position where they can rest players. Arsenal are 5 points clear. So that will play, I think, on Pep's mind, thinking, can he actually get away rotating KDB? I don't think he can. He needs to play him because he's the main man in that midfield. And I think for me, it's quite an easy switch for Salah to KDB. As of now, for me, it makes sense right now. What's your thoughts on it, Jordan? Because obviously you own Bruno. You don't have Salah.
Yeah, and Bruno has obviously Man United. Bruno has Man City next, so I don't mind taking Fernandes out for that because it is going to be a tough game for Man United and for also Man City, and especially Derby. It's unpredictable what happens when Man City and Man United play. Obviously, we knew what happened last time. Man United got battered by Man City, but now that Man United have improved since Cristiano Ronaldo has left the club, this could be a tougher, obviously, opponent for Man City. It's ain't the same Man United we saw when Ronaldo was around, so this could potentially be a shock result for game week 20.
Yeah, I mean, I would go there. I think if you want to take Salah out, I don't think it's as risky anymore because, as I said, guys, if we're not going to captain Salah, then I don't think it's that big of a risk taking him out. And the way Liverpool are playing, they don't fill me with that much confidence. Salah may score, guys. Don't get me wrong. He could easily score against Brighton. He can get a penalty even, and he can slot the penalty. But I'd prefer the double fixture of KDB.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other comments, guys? Get your comments in, guys. And we try our best to answer them. Sorry if we missed any. And also, as always, drop a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. If I missed anything. Kwanda says, I will keep Cancelo for double game week. I will sell Salah or Zaha and Kane Nunez. Salah for Zaha, I think he means. Let's look at Zaha's fixtures. I mean, I've not considered Zaha.
No, he's been pretty quiet for Crystal Palace. Haven't been that great either, Crystal Palace.
He hasn't scored, I feel like, in forever. His last goal was against West Ham in game week 15. It's been before the break. Should take a look at Palace's fixtures. They don't look great. No. Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, Brighton, Brentford, Liverpool. That's a
Yeah,
tough set of. I would be avoiding Zaha.
yeah. Crystal Palace haven't been great in a few matches, even against easier easier teams. So I can't expect them to do much against Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think Zaha's an avoid, but Zaha's a strange player that he probably will score in some of these fixtures, and then you bring him in, and then he'll blank. He's one of those guys that he's a bit of a troll for me, anyway. But yeah, Chief, congrats on 700. Yeah, thank you guys for subscribing. I want to say a massive thank you to all you new subscribers and the old subscribers. And yeah, thank you for all your support, guys. Appreciate it a lot. Hopefully, we can get to 800 subscribers next, and yeah, carry on this journey. Which Brentford and Brighton players you consider? Actually, yeah, let's maybe discuss Brentford, Brighton, because we don't own any of these players. They've got some decent fixtures coming up. I'm going to bring up one actually. I actually mentioned this guy very early on during the season as a one to kind of watch. And that is Mitoma. He's very cheap at 4.9 million. And I think this guy's a brilliant player. For those of you that watch Brighton much, I do watch a bit of Brighton, and this guy, Mitoma, is one that's caught my eye this season. I think he's a great player, and 4.9 million. If Brighton ever get a double game week, I think I'm going to bring him in. Just looking at his, he scored a few goals. He scored a couple goals this season. I know he scored in match day 15, game week 15, sorry. And he has scored in the last 2 game weeks back to back as well. He scored against Arsenal in the 4-2 loss, and he scored in the win against Everton. He's a lively little player. Mitoma is definitely one I like the look of. And if Brighton have a double, I think he's one that you could punt on. And even if they don't have a, actually, you know what? Should we be looking at Mitoma as a potential pick? Now, really, if you look at the fixtures, Liverpool, maybe you wait and see how he does against Liverpool. But then after that, Leicester, Bournemouth, Palace, Fulham. Is only owned by 0.6%. This is a super differential, guys. I like Mitoma.
I'll probably throw in a shocking one, which a lot of people may not be put off by it, but it is a forward who did get an assist against Arsenal and actually did score, I believe, against Southampton. And that is Evan Ferguson, Brighton forward. And yeah, he looked pretty good in both of those fixtures. And he's kind of let's say, one to look out for, I think, as well. Even though he's a forward, he is 4.5 million. He's very cheap and definitely a budget saver for a third forward slot if you wanted to go there. Especially if Brighton get a double, I think he'll be very tempting. If he can get the minutes as well onto him, which I think he can, he might be a valuable player to bring in the team just because of how cheap he is. His ownership is the same, 0.6%.
Yeah.
And he's already raking in the points from 2 games, 5 assists, but 1 assist and then 1 goal in Arsenal and Everton. So yeah, you'd be my
two goals in there. He scored against Arsenal and he scored again against Everton.
Oh, yeah, 2 goals.
Yeah, back-to-back goals as well from him and back-to-back goals from Mitoma. I think Mitoma might be a bit more nailed, but yeah, as you said, you could go to Ferguson, and if we have a double game week, I think those two could be good. But yeah, Mitoma is one to watch out, guys, in the coming weeks. See how he does. I think Mitoma, if you're looking for a differential, definitely consider him for Brighton. And also Brentford. I think Brentford probably Mbeumo. I mean, he's a midfielder now, isn't he? I think.
Oh no, he's a forward.
He's a forward. Oh yeah, sorry, he was a midfielder, I believe, last 2 seasons ago when he first came into the league. He's a forward now at 5.8 million. Fixtures look very nice. Bournemouth at home, Leeds away, Southampton at home, and Brentford has shown even against Liverpool, they've beat Liverpool so far this season. They've beat Man City. They beat Man United. They are a really good team, and at home they're very, very strong. And they've got 2 home games in the next 3 against Bournemouth and Southampton. I can see a lot of goals potentially. And should we take a risk on Mbeumo? He's cheap, but should we let that deter us from bringing in players like this, who many other managers may not be considering, but to get ahead of the pack, should we take risks like this, calculated risks, bringing in Mbeumo or a Mitoma?
Yeah, I think for most people, they want to go for a differential pick, especially if you've got a template team where it doesn't really get you much rank. I think it is worthwhile going for like a differential pick, like Mbeumo, who has Bournemouth at home in Game Week 20, which no one will really look at, even though it's probably the best fixture to have in that double game week. Even though it's a single, it can be very rewarding, especially for Mbeumo. And if Tony is not to play that as well, that just gives more reason to actually potentially bring in Mbeumo, because I feel like he does more well in the absence of Tony, as we do see more from Tony getting the goals when he's obviously playing than Mbeumo.
Yeah, and Mbeumo has 4 goals so far this season. So he's not scored many, but obviously we know Tony was missing, obviously through injury, I believe. We don't know if he's going to miss further games due to his, what's the allegations or whatever against him. But Mbeumo could be good for the next 3. And against that Bournemouth, fixture, if Tony doesn't play, I think he could be a good option, especially after the game he had against Liverpool, where he scored a nice goal, didn't he, to make it 3-1.
Yep.
So he's one to watch. I think other than that, obviously there's Tony's the obvious one. If he's back, then I like Tony if he's back.
If I had to pick a different player in terms of, I'm not an attacking player, I'll probably say Ben Mee, the defender.
Okay.
I feel like he's pretty good for Brentford. I think in these next 3 fixtures, I could possibly see 2 clean sheets for Brentford in the 2 out of 3 out of those, possibly from Bournemouth and Southampton. I feel like both of those at home for Brentford have a good probability of a clean sheet, and I think Ben Mee is a pretty good choice because from corners, Brentford are dangerous from set pieces, so there's always the odd chance that Ben Mee could possibly get a goal. I mean, I think he scored 2.
He scored against Manchester United in the 4-0 win early on in the season. He scored against Wolves as well. So he does have 2 goals this season. He's a bit of a threat from set pieces. He is only priced at 4.6 million. A lot of us want to get in a defender. We're tired of Cancelo, etc. Bournemouth, Leeds, Southampton next, and then now he's got Arsenal and then Palace. So fixtures aren't too bad. I mean, and there's a couple of home fixtures, and we know Brentford are quite strong at home, and he's only 6.2% owned. Could be a worthy punt to take, Ben Mee. What you reckon, you? So, I mean, would you be going to Cancelo to downgrade him to someone like Ben Mee, and do you think it's worth it then?
Long term, yeah, I think it's worth it for the fixtures Brentford have. I mean, you could either go Ben Mee, or you could go somewhere else like Leicester because they've not the Forest. But I think you can't go wrong with the fixtures for Brentford, especially with David Raya. He's a pretty good goalkeeper. He's done pretty well for Brentford. I feel like, there's possible clean sheets for them, and yeah, it's definitely better than having Cancelo play for a few minutes and not getting a clean sheet. Whereas Ben Mee, you got the chance of a clean sheet and maybe a goal to go with it.
What do we think about Haaland triple captain? So he's got Manchester United away and then Tottenham at home. Would you be going Haaland triple captain?
I feel like it's a trap. That double game for me.
I'm gonna argue why I think it could be a good decision. So you've got your triple captainship, guys. You're gonna have to use it obviously soonish. I think a lot of people will probably be thinking, I'm gonna wait for a better game week later down the line, which I do understand. But let me tell you guys why you might want to go now. So basically, Manchester City are going to have Champions League games coming up. Second half of the season, Champions League kicks off again in February. So Man City are going to be involved in that. And once the Champions League kicks in, there's going to be a lot more rotation with obviously Alvarez as well. So what I'm saying is, because we expect more rotation second half of the season, and now there's no Champions League games, I think it could be a good time to go Haaland now, because he's going to play both games. He's going to play 90 minutes, most likely in both. So that 180 minutes. So I think Haaland could be good now, and because I'll be worried later on down the line. Let's say, for example, in game week 34 or later down the line, Haaland will probably have a nicer double game week. But there will always be that worry: will he play both games if they're still involved in the Champions League when the team's being rotated? Title races. Like I said, the title race is still firmly on. And guys, Haaland did score a hat trick against Man United this season. I know United won't, they've improved since that game. But Tottenham haven't looked that great. I know they got the win against Palace. It's up to you. I don't think it's a. I think there's a good chance I could go triple captain Haaland, because I think in those two games, I wouldn't be surprised if Haaland got a goal in both those games, if I'm being honest. Even today, obviously Chelsea did defend pretty well, I thought, but I think Pep was maybe the reason behind the way they started. I think the team he put out wasn't great. So yeah, if I'm going there, I think yes, you could captain him, because would anyone be surprised if Haaland scores against Man United? Even if they lose, let's say Man United somehow win, I wouldn't be surprised. And even against Tottenham. And yeah, guys, Champions League, do consider that. Champions League kicks off in Feb. More rotation will kick in, but yeah, we'll have more of that in the team selection video, because we'll give our thoughts in more detail and whether we'll be triple captaining him. But I think it could be a decent time to go there. I've missed this one, I think, from Daniel Slavov. Thank you for the comment. He can't decide between Watkins and Wilson. Or Wilson, sorry. Are you a fan of Wilson? Let's talk about Watkins. I'll bring up his fixtures, and then we'll just quickly go through what you think of him. Watkins. I mean, I'm not keen on Watkins, if I'm honest. But what's your thoughts? He's got Leeds, Southampton, Leicester, City, Arsenal. Next 5.
With Aston Villa, there's a bit of inconsistency with the goal scorers, especially at the moment. Like, I think we saw Danny Ings score, but I don't think Watkins got anything from the game week. I think he got 2-pointer.
Yeah, 2-pointer. I mean,
yeah, there's not much consistency from Watkins. And Aston Villa, I know they have a new manager now, Emery, but I feel like there's still the improvement needed for Aston Villa. I don't think it's one to look out for, in particular, personally for me. I mean, he does take up a forward slot, and I think there's other forwards are pretty much.
And he's not that cheap either. 7.1 million. Yeah, I would be avoiding Watkins personally. Yeah, I'd prefer Wilson, but is he back? I mean, he played against did he? Did he play against Arsenal? I don't think he did he?
He came on for a few minutes. I think.
Oh, sorry, he did start. He played 67 minutes against Arsenal. My bad. But he didn't get anything. He got the 1-pointer. He went off, so he's a bit of a minutes risk. I'm not. I like Wilson, but it always worries me, his injury issues. So I don't think I'd go there. But if his fixtures are pretty good: Fulham, Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth.
I'd probably be more tempted with Chris Wood, maybe.
Shout, potentially.
He is the penalty taker if Wilson doesn't play in games.
Yeah, Chris Wood. Interesting. I mean, he does get the odd minutes. Obviously, Wilson is a bit of a problem with his injuries. I mean, Isak, does anyone know what the situation with him is? I mean, how long he's out for? I mean, he could be a good option as a differential if he's fit. He has barely played. And he's only played like three games for them. So he's one that when he's fit again, I think could be an option. But he seems injury prone just as much as Wilson. It's worrying for Newcastle.
It's a bit unfortunate because he is a new player for Newcastle, new signing, and gets injured.
Should you start Kepa against Palace or Ward against Nottingham Forest? What do you think, Jordan?
I'll start Ward against Nottingham Forest if I had the choice. I wouldn't trust Chelsea with Crystal Palace. Even though Crystal Palace has been bad, they're still an attacking type of team that can score. And I can see them scoring against Chelsea. Whereas with Leicester against Nottingham Forest, I don't really see Nottingham Forest scoring. Even though Leicester have been pretty bad defensively, I still think they can keep a clean sheet more than Chelsea could.
I mean, I've got Ward in my team. Obviously, I have no choice but to play Ward. I'm actually quite happy he's got a decent fixture this week. But I would be playing. I don't know. Actually, I'd probably play Ward as well. Yeah, I'd play Ward. Probably more chance of a clean sheet. Saying that though, now you know what? I'm gonna play Kepa. I think, even though I don't own Kepa, I think I'll be tempted to play Kepa because today I saw a bit more from Chelsea's defense against City. I know City only scored the 1 goal, and Leicester, I do not trust Leicester either. I know Ward, he's done a few clean sheets before the World Cup break, but I'd be tempted to just play Kepa. Chelsea's defense looked better today, and they had a few injuries, but yeah. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap the stream up here, Jordan. Just over an hour. Before we discuss all your questions, I know, sorry, we didn't discuss much of what our teams we're gonna do with our teams in terms of transfers, but we do have a team selection video out for you guys very soon. So, just looking at the schedule, when are we next streaming? So the deadline is on Friday, next Friday, 13th of Jan. So we'll have the team selection video out on Tuesday. Sorry, not Tuesday, Thursday, and we'll have the transfer tips video out for you guys on Tuesday. So we will have a lot more videos to come, or streams, I should say. So make sure you are subscribed, and make sure you have put the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any of our content. Mark says he bought De Bruyne a few weeks ago and completely broke him. Yeah, that always happens, doesn't it, with FPL?
Yeah, it does. With these the premiums, they have not paid off at all. Like Trent, Cancelo, KDB, Salah, all the premiums are doing pretty poorly this season, and the non-premiums are doing so well this season. So it is a bit of a reverse.
Yeah, I think that's why I've had such a poor start, because I backed Trent. I kept hold of Trent for pretty much 17 game weeks in a row, and I didn't have Trippier. So that's definitely gone against me. Even holding Salah for so long, I think it's kind of affected my rank. But yeah, anyway, we are going to discuss all that. We'll be back to our normal schedule, guys. It's been a hectic, Christmas football period. It feels like we've been streaming every day, but we are back to our normal schedule, which, a bit more calm and not as hectic, and it should be good. But yeah, we are going to wrap it up here. I'll just remove that from the screen. I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to all the new subscribers, and even the ones that have been with us since day one. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone that has watched the stream. Thank you for all your comments as well. It's been a brilliant, engaging chat. And yeah, we're back on Tuesday for a transfer tips video where we, our buy, sell, hold, and ignore series. But for now, that is it from me and Jordan, the FPL Duo. We hope to see you guys again on Tuesday for the stream. And if you haven't, as always, drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we hope to see you soon. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan, before we do head out?
Yeah, I would also like to say thank you guys for getting us to 700. We've been so close to getting there, and it's very nice to have got it on obviously the new Jurt stream. So thanks for everyone, and welcoming the new people to the channel. Hopefully you enjoy our content that we provide for you, and yeah, have a good week, what's left of it, and yeah, take care.
Take care, guys. See you soon.